right, Jayson Tatum hitting the ground running, literally, but after an emotional homecoming, the C's are on the road for one of the toughest three-game stretches they'll face all season. The Celtics are in the midst of a tough three-game road trip. They started it off with a key win in Cleveland on Sunday. Tatum went for 20 points in 27 minutes in just his second game back. Easy work for him. Next up, they're in San Antonio tonight for a showdown against the surging Spurs. Wemby has put absurd numbers in his last three games, averaging 31, 11 boards, and 4 blocks per game. And they will finish the trip Thursday with a shutdown versus the Thunder at DraftKings Sportsbook sees the most likely finals matchups. SJ will seek to break Wilt Chamberlain's all-time record for the most consecutive 20-point games. Thanks in part to this tough week, the Celtics have the third hardest remaining strength of schedule by a point at win percentage and toughest of any team in playoff contention. Crazy times. All right, the Celtics have now been installed at plus 175 favorites to win the East after Tatum's return, followed by the Cavs, Knicks, and Pistons. That's according to DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, Tim, with Tatum back, are the Celtics now your favorite to win the East?
I think so, clearly. I mean, we said that yesterday on the show, and it's really what I've thought going back to the last couple months, waiting to see if Jayson Tatum would come back and how he would look, because this team has already been in the top 5 in the league in offense and defense without Jayson Tatum on the court. And he comes back, he looks like he hasn't missed a game. He's still an incredible help defender. He's still a tremendous rebounder. He's still a really good playmaker. He's a great spot-up shooter. He does all these things to elevate the players around him, and they've got a great system and a lot of great players around him. And Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics front office has done a remarkable job of finding and developing young players to fill in the gaps for some of these guys that they lost: Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Jrue Holiday, Luke Cornett. And while it's not the same Celtics team as has been in the past, Jaylen Brown is playing better than he's ever been. Peyton Pritchard has taken on a bigger role. Derek White is one of the best two-way guards in the league. This is a team that is about as complete as you can have, and an Eastern Conference that is wide open. This is the only team in that group that's gotten to the end and gotten all the way to the top, and I think that's going to make a huge difference in the playoffs.
You know, I'm reading this interesting book by Robert Parrish called The Chief. In the book, he states that when he joined the Warriors and left the Warriors to go to the Celtics, the one thing he noticed is the Celtics were a team and all they cared about was winning, which was certainly much different than Rick Barry and the Warriors were. And I see this in today's Celtics. Like, these guys don't care about their individual stats. They care about winning. They're motivated from not making it back to the finals. And that's why I do agree with the odds makers and think that they'll win the East, because they're just too talented, too connected, great coach. The only team, though, that I think could make it interesting is, respectfully to the up-and-down Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And maybe I'm too close to it because I'm doing a Donovan Mitchell diary, but him and James Harden and their size and their defense, I think Cleveland probably has the best shot at making it interesting.
I like that pick too, but I agree with you. I think Boston, just because they have been there before, because this group has been together for so long. Even though they have a lot of new players, a lot of young guys, the core group and who knows how to win is still there. But I'm still going to go back to the Knicks. I know we all just saw them lose 2 games here in Los Angeles, and so that's why you're off the Knicks, because they go up and they go down. But the amount of talent on that team and the fact that they were in the conference finals, they were right there. And they knew how close they were. They knew how to get it. This is an all-in kind of season for the New York Knicks. And I know that pressure bursts pipes, but I feel like this group can handle that kind of pressure, especially with Jalen Brunson as the leader, especially with everyone in that locker room who knows what's at stake. Plus that style of play, that physical, grimy, defensive-minded style of play that they can turn it up. They don't do it every night. They don't do it when you want them to sometimes, but I think they can in the playoffs, and that style that tends to play well in the playoffs.
Pressure also makes diamonds, Ramona. I'm right there with you. I like it. All right, let's get back to last night's NBA action and go coast to coast. Starting in Brooklyn, where Ryan Rupert, you've been warned.
He tried to slow down. And the Nets have numbers. Oh, dang, Ron Sharp! He just free-mobbed the Grizzlies.
He's flexing. Everybody on the bench is flexing.
Yeah, well, also, Ian Eagle on the call. Does anyone know what frame mogging is? No? Maybe Ian is just way more hip than we are.
I mean, look at that jacket. That's the jacket for the GOAT right there.
That's not, I mean, why do we do Ian like that?
He's the GOAT.
Hilarious. I'm going to use that, though. Next in Cleveland, the Cavs cruised past the Sixers, who were without Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Paul George, and VJ Edgecombe. Tim, when can we expect Philly to get back?
Not soon enough. They are not going to have Tyrese Maxey tonight. They're not going to have VJ Edgecombe tonight. They're not going to have Joel Embiid tonight. They're not going to have Paul George tonight. And it remains to be seen when they're going to have any of them back. This is a team that had been in 6 for the past several weeks. They're now firmly in the play-in picture with a lot of the teams around them playing tankers. They could fall even further down the race if they don't get these guys back soon.
The league office has canceled the Hawks' plans for a Magic City night that was set to take place on March 16th. The promotion generated a lot of buzz and criticism when the team announced their plans to celebrate Atlanta's, quote, iconic cultural institution. Despite the change, the Hawks say T.I. will still be performing at halftime, and yes, wings are still on the menu.
Luke Cornett.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver released a statement saying, quote, while we appreciate the team's perspective and their desire to move forward, we have heard significant concerns from a broad array of league stakeholders, including fans, partners, and employees. I believe canceling this promotion is the right decision for the broader NBA community.
I'm sorry.
The Warriors drilled the go-ahead 3 with under 30 seconds left as Utah stunned Golden State 119-116. With Steph out, along with several key rotation players, Golden State has now both poignant and ambitious. Tim, what say you?
Well, this conversation comes up now several times a year, right? At some point in the year, somebody will say, oh, there's too many injuries. The game is too hard. There's too much wear and tear being put on these guys. We have to shorten the schedule. The thing that's not really talked about is that feasible? And for most of the last 30, 40 years, that has not been feasible for one main reason. The NBA has generated a lot of revenue from TV, and specifically from its local TV deals, where there were these game guarantees where the local networks had to get 70 games on their air to give the teams the money. So there was always an immediate stop to any talk about shortening the schedule. However, we're currently in a situation where mainstream sports, one of the big RSN companies, has got about half the league's teams under its belt. They're in bankruptcy talks right now. A lot of the teams in the league are potentially going to be going away from them over the next 6 to 12 months. You already have several teams like Phoenix, Utah, that have gone to a free over-the-air local TV setup because their RSN situations already fell apart. So we are reaching a point where, with the league talking to our network, to Amazon, to some of these other companies about potentially pooling together a lot of these local rights to games, there is the possibility, at least potentially, for the NBA to reimagine a lot of its business, which could include shortening the schedule and having all the games be put on national television. That would potentially give us an opportunity to have the schedule be shorter, to what I think the most important thing is to get rid of back-to-backs completely, which is the biggest reason why guys don't play in games now. And then you have the chance to have guys, like Steve Kerr said, out there more often, more rested, and ready to put on a better product for fans.
Look, they've been doing it the same way for 75 years. And at All-Star Game, I stood there and listened to Adam Silver say, sometimes after 75 years, we need to rethink things. So they've rethought the All-Star Game several times. I think we actually got a good one this year. This was a good one. Maybe that's Victor Wembanyama. Maybe that's the format. But they do need to rethink things. Baseball did this a few years ago. They've made some pretty big changes to the game to speed up the pace of play. I think basketball needs to do the same type of thing. And Tim, you brought up the way that it would probably happen. At some point, people are going to have to give back money. That usually doesn't go over well with anyone, but we have to get to this place because the game is just different. It's played too fast. These guys run so much more than they used to.
You know, and people say, well, why don't they just do it like baseball? And the thing that makes it tough is arena availability, travel constraints, TV, and all that. So I think the only thing to do is to lengthen the schedule. Hey, I wouldn't mind the finals 4th of July. Give it some fireworks.
Or you know what you could do, the thing I've campaigned for years? The preseason's a joke. Cut the preseason to 2 games. No, they don't.
Why?
Because the guys train all summer.
That's how guys get hurt.
The guys train all summer. But here's the thing, Mark. If they came to the preseason and played, I'd be all for that. But the teams don't even play guys in the preseason now anyway. So
I think training camp needs to be probably like 3 weeks.
Well, if you do that, then you're stretching the season out a lot. I would just say
that would cut down the injuries probably.
Well, maybe. But you now have 4 preseason games for these teams, and guys are maybe playing in one of them. If you just had the normal training camp, 2 games, and then you start, that would get rid of almost all the back-to-backs right there if they just did that.
Yeah. Well, it's not